I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
AutoSave, welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 47. I would love to start off in a few different places this episode. There's only one real place that I'm scared to start off, and that's with Olivier and Father.
Ooh, okay. I have another place that we could start off to put with that I would be nervous to start off with, and that is Al's predicament. I feel like Olivier and Al are in very sticky, maybe scary situations, maybe life-threatening situations that I don't want to see them get hurt. I don't want to see them scared.
There's no way that Father would know that Olivier has the information about Selim being a homunculus.
Does it matter? Like, would it matter to him? Probably what would matter to him is if she tried to, tell the whole world or tried to actually intervene. But her having this information might not be, like, a whole big deal to him, especially when we're like the day before the promise day. But
there wouldn't have been a way that he would have found out, is my point. Like, we saw the transfer of information and how, like, streamlined and coded it was. That's where my fear goes when I see Father standing with Sloth behind Olivier with his hand on her shoulder.
I feel like Selim really is the only way that any information that Olivier has learned would be known, because Selim has put trackers on people before. I mean, we saw that with Ryza. She couldn't talk to Roy on the phone without being overheard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe we have Olivier being followed, but
I don't know.
Maybe she's just in for a very uncomfortable conversation or conversations.
Maybe. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Did not go too well.
He didn't hide himself too well. I don't even think he could have hid himself better.
Oh no. What the fuck? Emissary of Darkness.
Why did I think that was gonna be like a good voice that was talking
like
to him
Al's
and telling
mom, and then it was just Selim? Here we go.
With your right hand. Too.
Yeah, what do you think about our friends? What about Greeling?
He's like, what an interesting group.
Whew.
In front of the fire. Oh my god.
Yep.
I'm glad my son would say so.
Ed.
Everyone's faces. You're being called out. Oh, like you were almost hoping he'd be someone you could so easily hate.
Oh.
We're gonna make like a new cloak for ourselves? Taking the fashion world
Why does
by
it have to
storm.
be red?
Red's a good color for him.
We're a team.
Don't be stubborn.
Interesting.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, no, no, no. No. Bad feeling.
Is Selim controlling the armor?
Oh. It couldn't even be grieved to say it.
Oh. Fucking Selim, man. How does he use his voice? Oh.
Well, this is not expected at all. Oh my god! Wait, that's really cool looking, but awful.
I hated seeing that.
Oh yeah, Bradley's totally dead.
Okay. Well, I believe in miracles. Not the right time. I don't like seeing the little hands.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, revealing. That's awful. Where's Mr. Ho? Their animal instincts are right. I mean, 2 of them already...
Collateral damage. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah,
just
what
light?
are you supposed to do?
Oh.
No! Not Greeling!
What a cool shot.
Can't make shadows if it's all dark.
Oh!
You gotta sense something, Mr. Ho.
Good thinking, Ed.
A child. Stand still.
Oh!
Using the animal instincts!
It doesn't look like Selim's getting hurt.
I don't think we should leave it all to Heinkel.
Can Selim do anything without the shadows?
How would he know where we were? Does he have that sort of ability? Sense of smell. There we go. It was gluttony.
Gotcha. Come on, Darius.
Yeah! Please, nothing bad
Oh!
happen. Yeah! Headbutt! At least we know that he's strong.
What are you gonna do? Oh!
So Ling was the one that realized Pride was there.
Yeah. Let's go, Ling! I love that he gave it over.
What a good pair. You know, Ling, Ed, and Gluttony have a history.
Not again.
Right?
Who? Lanfan?
You know it? Or Fu.
Oh!
Yes! Look at you!
Chills. Holy shit.
Oh, what a way to end the episode, right?
You know, like, I didn't know who to fucking expect. My best guess, if we were going to get anybody to help there, is Hohenheim. And for it to just be Lanfan coming in with automail is absurd. I love it.
My brain was like, okay, Hohenheim, but like, I don't think he moves that fast.
Yeah.
So then I was like, Mei Chang? Mei Chang would have been very upset seeing Al be controlled like that.
Like, I'm trying to think about the specifics. Is Al present, or is he in that mindscape? Like, or being drawn back, you know? Like, is he conscious while he's being used by Selim?
I wonder if it's similar to what Greeling's situation is. Like, Greed and Ling. Like, Ling is aware within the body, but can't necessarily push forward for control all of the time. Like, how similar is it to that?
Okay, that was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 47. Lanfan fucked Gluttony up, dude. There was a lot of blood.
I think that she totally deserved this moment and how it pans out. The fact that we have such a build-up, such a kind of height of fear and energy happening, really crazy fights that are about to happen and are starting to happen that we're kind of like, how are we even going to win here? This feels impossible. And then Lanfan is able to return to the show at the height of that moment and then roll the credits, you know, giving her that moment to return. It feels really special. It feels good. I'm glad that that's how she does return to the story.
I was wondering if she was going to return to the story, like, you know, during the battle, during the fight, because it seemed like after Ling got that closure of the message being passed and received, that could have been it, you know? But the idea that Greed hands over the reins to Ling because of his ability to be able to sense them out means that Ling is in possession. He's the one whose face that we get to see out of the two of them when Lanfan appears and that realization happens.
That feels so good.
I know, right? They didn't have to do that, but letting that happen was so awesome.
It's multifaceted because obviously it's really awesome that kind of we already knew that Greed and Ling were able to have some compatibility, if you will, and that's why they're able to be in the situation that they're in, and that's why maybe there even is any room for switching. But the idea that Greed is kind of like, yeah, you're right. You do have something I don't that could help us out here. I'll switch with you. And
just don't run off with the body.
Just don't run off. And he's like, well, it's my body to begin with, you know? But the fact that there is a switch here, like you said, the fact that it's Ling when Lanfan returns, I didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't go that next step to think about it like that. That makes me so happy. And I should have thought that she would return, and I did think she would. Because why wouldn't she return once she got some sort of auto mail for the arm? Of course she would want to come back and at least just try to find Ling
She would feel like she needed to.
Yeah. I just didn't know where she was going to enter. And I think that I imagined the battle, if you will, the final battle, the Promised Day battle, to be almost like one army faces another army all on the same battlefield to some degree. Maybe the ending, you know, the outro, maybe because we're all jumping together, that's why I felt like we were all going to be on the same battlefield. But it seems like the battle has literally, the official battle, I feel like, started within this episode.
I agree with you. And you know what's really interesting? Greed has become such an important character to me that I trust him so much. Like, when he's worried upon Al, quote unquote, stepping towards us, I'm like, okay, something's fucking wrong. And then when he's questioning, like, how the fuck did Pride even find us?
Yeah,
how can they locate us?
He doesn't
I'm like,
have an ability like that.
Yeah, I'm trusting him. I'm like, yeah, how the fuck did they find us? Up until the point of we get it being Gluttony reveal, smelling us.
Imagine that responsibility on your shoulders, being the one homunculus of the group. You're the one that should know these things, and you're like, shit. How did Pride find us?
But it was Ling who was the one who was able to identify that somebody was onto them and tracking them. I hated seeing Al's body, even though it's not his body and it's just his armor. It's still his in a way, man.
It is his body. We didn't really ever like when, like, you wouldn't like it if someone, like, it takes me back to the chimeras. I know that obviously because we have greed, when the chimeras were possibly, like, the idea of them being killed while inside of the armor, that idea of having to clean Al up, it gives me that same feeling of it is his body, you know? That is, like, it's a special like temple, you know, like, don't desecrate it
without permission, at least. Like, if we're going to make a replica so somebody else can wear it and act like it's Al, that's fine.
But the reveal of the fact it wasn't a replica, where the shadows start spiraling to, like, reveal,
the shot hurt. With the eyes coming out of Al's helmet is great. Cool. It's really cool, but it's really fucking disturbing at the same time because of the implications there. I would love to know, and I'm sure that we will, about, you know, what Al is feeling, if anything at all, during this time, because whilst he's being used, we get one of the first sequences with Al this episode, his perspective of things. It almost, I read it probably wrong as it being Trisha reaching out to him, or maybe that was his own, like, mind imagining it would be, just for it to be disrupted and turned into Selim. Obviously, Al's soul is trying to go back to his body, so I wonder where he's at with all of this while his armor is being controlled.
Yeah, at the beginning of the episode, I definitely was deceived, you know, by Selim. Also, I took that, like, very lovely, nice, calming sounding voice, the hand reaching out, you know, wake up, Al.
It's too soon for you to die.
This is some sort of spirit from beyond, or it is the god taking a different form. Someone's coming in, swooping in, and kind of cradling him in support to wake up. You know, this is a positive thing that's happening here. And I was deceived. It was Selim, and that's very upsetting. But a question that you had asked is, like, what is happening here for Al? Is he actually, is his soul removed? Is he within that white space? Is he seeing the door? What is happening? Is he actually there, and is he fighting for kind of control over his armor? Is he able to witness what is transpiring? Obviously, you didn't ask all of that. I'm tacking more questions onto the initial question. But yeah, the parallel would be Greed and Ling. And is it similar to that, where Al is able to witness everything that is happening, and he's able to see that his brother is right there, and able to know, oh my gosh, through my body, Pride could hurt my brother? Is he having to feel that and know that? Or is he just somewhere else having no idea what's happening right now with his body and wishing to, like, send his soul right back to the armor?
It's interesting because part of me, if those, like, we get the idea that the intervals are getting shorter and shorter, but if Al was present, we would have almost heard, like, some pushback or at least seen it from his perspective. So then if I had to make a shot in the dark, it would be that, you know, it's during one of those intervals. But I don't know. I guess we'll see, depending on what happens with Al's body.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would have faith that he would have a strength similar to Ling in order to fight back and kind of try to regain control. But there could be just the case that Pride is more powerful than Greed and is able to overpower. You know, the ability to completely overpower may be something that Pride is able to do that Greed isn't.
I really liked Ed's approach to the fight. Like, my stupid instinct immediately is like, oh, okay, how the fuck are we going to fight him? We need to make everything bright. Like, blow everything up in terms of exposure. Make sure that there can't let a shadow be existing in front of us. But no, just get rid of the light. Make it dark. It's easier. Look at your circumstances. There's no moon. There's no stars out. I love the creativity behind that.
That would not have worked if there had been stars out in the sky, the moon up bright, shining, basically like a flashlight. It would not have worked without the natural circumstances. But unfortunately, there's consequences for everyone when it's dark like this. Yeah. No one can see. Like, almost comedically so, no one can see. Mm-hmm. And we're having to rely, for, like, the fourth time in this episode, animal instincts. Yeah. You know, sometimes they're telling us, I should stick with Ed. You know, I'll fall into good fortune if I stick with Ed. But then other times they're like, hey, don't mess with that guy.
It was very interesting watching Heinkel beat up Selim. Because
it was hard to watch almost.
It's just, I fucking hate Selim. And then like watching like a little kid get like beat the shit out of, but
By,
it's
like,
like
a
he's
lion
not
man?
like bleeding a ton or anything like
No.
that. It was just a really fascinating experience to go through, you know, watching Selim just get whipped around by Hunkel. I liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. I'd rewatch it.
What do you think do you think Heinkel would be able to actually do anything to Selim? Because it almost didn't feel like Selim was like really getting that hurt. Like not in the same way we see Gluttony maybe get sliced up by Lanfan. It didn't seem like we were getting some punches to the face and some like slight like black scratch lines, but
Yeah.
not to the degree that like we're killing Selim.
I think it's an interesting question. I guess it would have to deal with what the answer is in terms of what does it actually mean to defeat Selim?
Mm-hmm.
Are you, you know, ripping that child's body limb from limb? And if you do, does that defeat Selim? Or does that defeat Selim? Or does that defeat the vessel that Selim is currently occupying?
The container. I think
container,
that the way to defeat Pride, my first guess would be to defeat the container, to like break the container. Therefore, there's no safety for Pride to rush back to, because that's what Selim's body is a retreat place. It is a place where Selim's able to walk about the world, and also if there's no way you can create a shadow to live in and survive in, you can just go into this vessel, into this body, and be safe. So if you were to break this container, it almost would remind me of how envious this tiny little homunculus now that's in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like you'd be able to create a container again yourself to then trap Pride into.
That's where I'm thinking, you know, as well. But I don't know how we defeat the vessel in the first place, because under these circumstances, it's going to be difficult. Even with Lanfan on our side, I don't feel amazing about our odds, but I think that that's kind of enjoyable. Like, it never feels like we're too far ahead or too far behind. Mm-hmm. We're always in a constant state of like, where we can win, but it's going to be a hard fought battle.
Yeah. And right now we have Selim versus Heinkel, and then over here with Gluttony we have Lanfan, Ling, Ed, Darius. You know, we have much more opponents going against Gluttony, but you know, if we're able to defeat Gluttony here and move some pieces over to Selim,
yeah,
hopefully, because I don't think Heinkel will be able to handle things by himself, unfortunately.
Don't have faith in Heinkel. It's crazy.
I'm sorry, Heinkel. I'm sorry.
Wanted to bring up something slightly off topic and different. Just wanted to get your take on it. Grumman is a fascinating character, and I really enjoy his time on screen. Within this episode, I was like, oh, interesting. So these are Grumman's thoughts. But no, it seemed like, was your interpretation as well that it was what Miles was assuming Grumman's mind was doing and how it was thinking and how it was working?
So my assumption is either that was completely Miles fabricating what he imagined was going on in Grumman's mind, or that we're shown actually Grumman's thoughts there, and then we hear that Miles thinks that's what he's thinking, and that because it goes in tandem like that, we can assume that Miles is right in terms of what he thinks Grumman is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting character. He's a very accomplished cosplayer. You know, this guy, he's gonna take over. He has confidence. He's gonna take over. He's gonna let the young people, something about chestnuts and a fire. He's gonna let the youngsters deal with things, and then he's gonna sweep it.
I'll let the youngsters pull the chestnuts out of the fire, so that I can take charge of this country with little risk.
That line surprised me. Okay.
That's probably what the old fox is thinking. I think that at the end of the day is what is important and solidified, is like, it's from Miles' point of view. We know Grumman as a more complex character than that, specifically like in his relationship with Roy. And I think that regardless of what happens going forward, whatever hopefully happens will be community effort, like in terms of like all of our characters, Roy Mustang, Grumman, Olivier, the Armstrong family, like figuring out where to place power after we're done dealing with the homunculi and Father.
That's like the one surprise or maybe fault I found in this series of lines was, I guess I didn't view Grumman as wanting to be the king, as wanting to be the one that takes charge. Let the youngsters kind of clear the way for him to then take control himself.
On a white horse?
On a white horse. Yeah, well, that he probably thought. He probably wants to just ride into Central on a white horse. I can believe that. Like a prince,
I think he just wants to ride a white horse, and then, like, Miles is putting him in Central.
Yeah, that's so true. Who knows? I also think that he would like to, like, cosplay some princely character on that white horse just for fun. But that did kind of, like, create some question marks for me. Like, what does Grumman actually want? How would the governing actually happen if, say, the king is actually disposed of? And we already kind of have some lines that, like, even though Bradley is lost to the water right now, things are still governing. Like, he still has people.
Yeah, and I think that, like, his insight is true and valid, and I love that he wants to be part of the search because he needs to see Bradley's body. That all adds up. But then, like, in terms of what Miles is thinking, I love that they're including it, if we're reading it right, because on that sense, like, Grumman, everybody that we've seen on our side in part wisdom to Ed and Al and to us as viewers has acknowledged the tragedies and the horrific atrocities that they have been a part of and have put out for themselves what they think needs to happen for themselves. And I think with that comes, like, Grumman's mentality or perspective potentially at the end of the day after all this as well.
Right. Do you think we will find Bradley's body?
No. Or if we do, it's going to be some copy of it made out of mud. No, I don't think we're going to find it.
I mean, a kind of tactic could be on Bradley's side of things. If he feels like he's up against foes that are a bit of a threat in actuality and doesn't feel too overconfident, a plot could be to want to have their search last longer, therefore less chance they can get to Central to maybe help stop something. So if he pretends to be lost for longer and or gets back to Central himself and they continue looking for him, that could be a potential tactic to kind of keep some of the forces away from Central for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dead, obviously, with what I'm saying. I think he's chilling somewhere or he's on his way back to Central.
Yeah, I'm with you. I felt pretty satisfied watching Ed punch Hohenheim with his strong hand.
Why'd you do it with your right hand? That felt good.
It's just, it fits in, it just is completely Ed, and it makes sense. And it makes sense that the two brothers are completely different people because of the ages that they were when Hohenheim left. And it was really fascinating to, like, the passing of the information of Pinico to Ed and then trying to get that message to Hohenheim of what those last words were. I expected that. What I didn't expect, and I want to talk about that, what I didn't expect were the lines coming from Hohenheim about, yep, I'm a Philosopher's Stone, use me as a Philosopher's Stone. And that being just like a, I don't know, it almost like was an icebreaker in a weird fucked up way. Because like that declining of using that was what almost put them on equal footing in terms of, yep, we're all on the fucking same team. Like we have issues elsewhere and the situation's complicated and it only gets further complicated, but it almost acted as like an icebreaker of sorts.
The line in response, I'm glad my son would say so, obviously to Ed's kind of like refusal to use his father. No, like we're doing things ourselves. We're not, like, think of all the people. We wouldn't do that. And that he's so glad that his son would say so. And I think that one of the things that felt so good, obviously, watching Ed punch Hohenheim with us knowing Hohenheim now, it's like, oh, don't punch He doesn't deserve to be punched. Maybe he does like a tiny bit, but not with your right hand, you know. But the idea that he totally respects and accepts the treatment that he's receiving from Ed, and he seemingly has a complete kind of understanding of why this is happening. And I love that everyone else in the circle seems to also understand why Ed is acting the way that he is, but also be able to see through it a little bit. Like when Ed's like, well, I'm not on the same team as you. We just happen to be fighting the same battle, but I'm not fighting like with you. And everyone in the circle is like, okay, buddy.
None of them can really talk on the actual reality of the feelings that Ed is feeling, because it isn't just one thing that happened. It isn't just two things. It's actual years of remembering that somebody left you and being the one out of two people, the older sibling, when your mother passed away, and all the emotions that and resentment that comes with that. I like that Ed just doesn't sweep it all under the rug. There's still real feelings, and he's able to be mature enough to handle it in the way that he is and still be like, all right, yep, we have the same mission, same goal, but the feelings are still there. And I love that. I absolutely thought Ed, reacting to Hohenheim crying was really fascinating. I would love to pull it up just so we can watch it again. Because we get, firstly, Hohenheim reacting to it, right? And remembering Trisha and remembering the promise. And within the past and within the memory, it almost seemed like Hohenheim expected Trisha to have an adverse response to him leaving. But her belief, Trisha always believed, her smile and her idea of, okay, that's fine, I'll be here when you come back. That is what reaffirmed itself within Hohenheim here. That memory of who she actually was.
I think it's like boils down to the idea that she knew that he would come back whether she was there or not. Like, he would keep his promise to come back. It's just unfortunate that their timelines didn't overlap perfectly.
And then Ed says, there, I told you. Turns around and you see Hohenheim weeping.
I wonder what he expected, which is fun to ask that question. But yeah, his reaction to his dad and the tears here. And we get a line when everyone's like, why are you being so stubborn, Ed? Like, that's your dad. Don't you think you should have more of a heart-to-heart? And they're like, oh, are you just stubborn and being mad at him for these various reasons? And he kind of boils it down to them, which I feel like shows the lengths that he has gone on, the journey that he has gone on in terms of how he's developed, in terms of his own feelings of his own guilt that he might feel about being the one with the body and Al in the armor and everything that's transpired. He's come to a place now that the real actual issue here with interacting with Hohenheim is that Hohenheim is not what he expected.
Well, like, think about what your perspective of Hohenheim could be if you're Ed. If you remember him walking out the door and you're hearing what that wish was, that I'm sorry that I couldn't keep my promise and I'm dying first. The idea that Trisha was just waiting for this man who didn't give a shit about his family this entire time, and that's how much she believed in him, and Hohenheim let her down because he didn't come back before she died, and maybe he could have done something. There's so many different routes you can spiral into that are reasonable and make sense, that could build up this character of Hohenheim and how he treated your family, that you just assume, oh, okay, yep, I don't give a shit. Maybe you could assume that, but just what it actually does to Hohenheim and what it means to him, what he's been through, is so cool.
That we get the actual literal, like, it's being said out loud. Oh, now you know your dad didn't just leave you guys. Like, Ed is getting straight from the mouth, straight from the source, the entire story, not just of his dad's past, but the reason his dad left to begin with. A little more of a glimpse into how his parents actually felt about each other, or how his mom might have felt about Hohenheim leaving. He knows those last words, and he's having all of those things together, conflicting with what is those years and years of built-up feelings he has, an idea of who he views his father to be that is in conflict with the things that he's learning. And he is allowed to be stubborn in the way that he is here. Obviously, we have Hohenheim bring up the difference between the two brothers in terms of their reaction to learning all of this information. Or at least he says what Al was able to react with, which was he was able to accept it. But of course, they're different. And I think Hohenheim is probably feeling very good about this interaction that he had with Ed, especially because Ed and Al are different.
One of my last things is that Heikel and Darius have, like, appreciation for their chimera bodies.
Yes.
Like, they were thinking about, like, oh, I wouldn't mind staying in this form. There are benefits to it.
I mean, I like that there would be people that would feel differently about it. Obviously, Zampano and Jurso, we got a little more of, like, oh, my family, and that they might want to get their original bodies back, but there's never going to be all people within the same circumstance feeling the same way about that circumstance. So I really like that there are people that are in that situation that are able to see maybe the cool aspects of it, the benefits to their lives from it. I could still, why can't you have a family and be loved by your family if you're a chimera? You know what I mean?
Did you have anything else?
I would say my last thing that I would want to bring up is that there's something about Hohenheim being in front of a fire, like a bonfire, that really speaks to me. It feels like the right location to view this character for some reason. It feels like
I wonder why.
There's something about it. Maybe it's the shadows. Even though shadows are evil, even if it's the shadows that are created upon the face when you're looking down at a fire, the inherent kind of tone and mood that is created, I feel like the setting fits Hohenheim and his life and how it's been lived, but also reminds me of one of those first scenes where one of those first episodes where we really start to learn about Hohenheim, when it's like that view of humans versus what it is that he is, and how humans will continuously try their hardest to get back up and continue to struggle in this world that's almost fighting against them.
Hohenheim is just the physical embodiment of a bunch of souls around a bonfire, like we have already seen with him, because he's a living philosopher's stone. It's just him. That's what he looks like on the inside.
Yeah, I get that. He has a little fire on the inside.
Well, everyone's with the thousands of souls that are inside him around the fire.
I was gonna say, everyone's like dancing around the fire, like in that one episode. And I'm like, no, I don't know if they'd be doing that. Well, okay, so that was my last thing. I really appreciated that we were all around a fire, and I wonder if Hohenheim's gonna jump into action, because I know he sensed. More than sensed, I mean, you would notice if all the light went out, even the fire in front of you, not just the electricity. I think he senses something's going on, so I wonder if he's going to come battle with his sons.
Maybe. Against his son.
No.
Kind of. You ready?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. We hope to see you next time.
I'm so ready.